To everybody, but I have a few comments I want to make. One is two words from, again, I'm quoting Rosemary Fagan, and I'm saying two words of hers: rampant normalcy. That means think about what's normal and do that. Basically, it needs to spread. So when you think about what you're doing, what language you're using, how you're acting, reacting, make it normal. What's normal? People who are living people who are living in the villages, we have to think of that as completely normal and make it so. The other thing is how risk is a part of life. And I just want to share with you, and I think a lot of you may know that for the last 25 years of my life was being with my dad, who had Alzheimer's and then passed away, and then my mom. And my mom passed away last year from Alzheimer's. But she lived with Monday and I and Grace, our daughter, for most of that time. And I just remember when I think about risk, I think about so many things. But one of the biggest ones is my mom really wanted to see her friend Betty that she had grown up with. And Betty was living down in Florida. And so we took this big road trip with Mom and Grace and decided to go down to Florida. And we thought, well, since we're in Florida, we might as well go to the Busch Gardens, which is a huge amusement park, right? And so my mom, being at that time 87, been living with dementia now for 12 years, wanted to go on also had a heart arrhythmia, also had high blood pressure, diabetes, you name it, wanted to go on every ride we could physically get her on. And we did. We did. And I kept having these thoughts that I'm gonna have to call my 5 brothers and sisters and say I killed our mother because she rode a roller coaster, or we got her in. Have you ever ridden one of those round inflatable things that are in the water, right? And they go on, they're called the falls, or it looks like a giant tube you're sitting in. Well, the way you get on that thing is that it's a moving thing that you have to jump into that thing while this thing's moving in a circle, okay? She's 87, has dementia. Everyone was laughing so hard that we kept going around several times before we could get her in. Mundy had to get in. Come here. Yeah. He had to get into the ride. I'm behind my mother. I'm like, okay, Mom, here we go. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. And she's like, and we're like, don't laugh. Stop laughing. You're getting in this damn thing. Just jump. And she's like, I'm coming. And she just literally jumped into Mundy. We put her into the seat. When we came around to get out, the people that ran it went, no, just do it again.
You earned it. You earned it. We're going through the ride, and Karen's like scared at the ride, but also like, ah! And then looking over at her mother, oh, ah! Oh. She's okay. We're okay. Okay.
We rode the tram 3 times because they didn't want to try and get us off once we got on. But it is part of life. And I just love that idea so much, that it's just that we have to take risks. We take more risks. It's insane. I was visiting this assisted living, and we were walking around, and I'm like, wow, this place is so gorgeous. And I see this beautiful outdoor area. And not only did they have a pathway, it was made of rubber, okay? So like if you fell, you're falling on rubber, right? They had little benches, they had flowers, and I don't see any people out there. So I went to the door, and the door's locked. And I looked at the lady giving me the tour, and I said, how come? And she goes, oh, well. And I'm like, what happened? And she said, a gentleman tried to climb the fence to get out. He was halfway over. Well, number one, you should have just let him go, because if he can get over that 6-foot fence, he deserves to get out, right? But I said, did he get out? And she goes, oh no, we caught him. And now we have to go out with, every single person that wants to go out. I said, wow, that's too bad. It's so beautiful. When did that happen? Oh, 10 years ago. She was like, I wasn't even working here then. I just heard the stories.
It's legendary.
It's legendary. You know, so Monday and I were thinking, you know, and this theme of dream, right? Uh-oh, I need to advance. So we need to, the idea about dreaming about the future and thinking about the future, we thought to ourselves, well, what might it look like, you know, 10 years from now or so? You know, what might it be like? So I want to introduce you to George. George lives in the Villages. Now, George enjoys his days. You know, he can sit, this is like 10 years from now, right? He can sit in his hover chair where his computer just pops out. He has a built-in stereo system into his hover chair.
Hold on, I'm getting a call.
Oh,
Yeah, George here. Oh, no, I'm not in any hurry. No. Well, in about 20 minutes, I have my high blood pressure vaccine. Yeah, oh, no big deal. No big deal. It's just the artificial intelligence in my chair said I had about a 60% chance of getting high blood pressure in 6 months. So I thought I'd nip it in the bud, get the vaccine, you know. Yeah, no, I can do that. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I mean, I have most of Saturday free, so I don't see why I can't spend that virtually helping to build houses in Haiti. I mean, I've got a robot body down there by Honda. I think it's a Honda Staminex, and the charge on that thing lasts for like 6 hours. So that's most of the afternoon working for me, so there you go. Okay. All right. Good. Yeah, I'll see you then.
As George is hovering around the village, he may pass by the pet adoption center that's connected to the village. Apparently they have horses.
Got horses.
And I hear they even have moose that you can adopt. He may hover down the hallway and sit in the cannabis steam room. It helps his rheumatoid arthritis, they say. He may play his music again. Of course, dining is still an important social aspect of the village. But now you can order whatever you want from a computer at the table.
All right, hey there, Alice and Marvin. Yeah, I'm gonna have I'll have the lobster thermidor.
And now it's brought in by drones.
Oh, that's delicious. Oh, I better get going.
Beep, 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 blink.
Hello, George here.
Hello, George. This is your doctor, Karen.
Oh, hi, Karen. What's up?
Well, it looks like to me that you've been up walking quite a bit lately. You know, I just replaced your hip yesterday. You need to rest it a little bit.
I know. It's just that I was feeling okay, so I thought I'd just get up and walk a little bit.
George, I'm sending you some support assistance. Actually, I'm going to be sending you some sap.
You're gonna send me sap?
It should be coming right now.
Ah!
What's wrong?
There's a pair of pants walking by themselves right towards me right now.
Yes, well, George, those are your support assistive pants. You just step into those pants, and they'll help you walk.
Okay, all right.
It's a soft body exoskeleton built into a pair of pants. Ooh. It'll just do all the walking for you to help your hip out.
Oh, that feels good. That's like a pair of friendly koalas giving my thighs a hug. I could wear these all day.
Well, George, you can actually do it all night. If you push your left pocket, it puts it into dance mode.
Oh, wow. That's great. Yeah. Wow. Oh,
Turn it off for a second. Turn it off.
There's a group of high school students staring at me.
High school students? Where are the high school students coming from?
Oh, they go to the school system that's integrated to the villages here. They're staring at me though.
I see. That sounds nice. I also hear that you signed up for some research.
Oh, I did. That's probably what the high school students are doing. They're researching me. Hi! Hope you're getting a lot of good data. Oh, I can feel them scanning me.
Oh.
That's good.
That's
all
nice.
Right. How do you turn those the dance mode on again?
Your left pocket.
Okay. I'm out of here.
All right, so that's what we think. 10 years.
That's the future. That's the future. For
maybe,
you.
maybe not.
I'm willing to bet.
I'm hoping for hover chairs by then. You know, I've really been hoping for hover chairs.
I'm hoping for the pants.
Okay.
I'm gonna sit over here by the polar bear fur.
Yeah, that's nice. So there's a couple of things that we want to talk to you about. And not just this idea of what you're going to do in the future, but what are you going to do with this information? And one thing I want to talk about is to stop using Band-Aids. I don't mean real Band-Aids, but I do mean Band-Aids in the sense of what do Band-Aids do, right? Well, they do two different things usually. Number one is they can just cover up a problem, and they're a temporary solution. And a lot of times we use Band-Aids for a lot of different reasons. And I think one of the biggest issues when we use so many Band-Aids is because we're not looking for the long-term solution. We're looking for a temporary fix, and then we can move on. And if we look for a long-term solution, then we're not going to use the Band-Aids unless we really have to for that moment, right? In that moment, you may need to, but then you can't forget to figure out why. And that's the other thing that I want to really talk about is, are we asking why? Not just about why our residents, why our elders, why, but everything that comes our way. Or are we slapping this Band-Aid on it? Are we looking at the why? And so when you think about this, you can apply it to everything. And I want you to think about all the different things that you've heard so far today. We're talking about from this morning on through to Al's talk. And when you think about how you may want to apply something, you put that why there. First, you got to think about why, because that will help you get to how. But we also need to look at the why when we think about some issues. And if we don't look at the why, we're not going to see some of these issues. So we have maybe a PSW that every Tuesday they're late, but we just don't think about it. We don't have time. And then another Tuesday comes and they get there late again, but we don't have time to deal with that. Why? What's going on with this PSW in their life that they may need you to ask them why? What's going on? Why does one of our residents no longer want to leave her room? What's the why behind that? When you dig down deep, if you're just going into her room and bringing her things instead, you're putting a big Band-Aid on the situation. You need to dig down deep and figure out the why. Why does he see things on the floor? Is it hallucinations? Is he just filling in the blank? Is he really seeing hallucinations, or is the floor really dirty? Maybe he really does have bugs. You know, why? What is really happening? And then I want to just dig down a little deeper into this one. Why does a person with dementia say, I want to go home? So if we look at this and look at the why, first of all, let's just think about the word home real quick. So when you guys think about the word home, what are some words that come to mind? Yell them out. Comfort. What else? Safety. Your own home. What are some other words? Love. Security. Family. Cats. Connection. Familiarity. Security. I heard somebody say mess. Thank you, whoever said that, because yes. Total freedom. My pillow. Are you guys staying in the hotel? All the pillows, lovely hotel, right? Not saying anything bad, but they're all mush. They're all mushy, you know? So it's like you always want your pillow. I don't know how many pillows you people have bought till you found the one. And I don't know if anybody shares your bed with a significant other and they have your pillow, you will rip it out from the underneath their head, right?
I'll be already asleep.
Yeah, and that's mine. It's like, I need that pillow.
That's the one I've been looking for all my life, and your head's occupying it.
Get it off. And so when you think about that, and you think about this idea of home, it's got a lot of meaning to it. But then also think about, let's say right now, something you ate at lunch is just not agreeing with you. And you're sitting there and your stomach's going, "Meh." And you're like, oh, this isn't good. You're like, "Brr. Ah. Where do you want to go? Back to your hotel room?
No.
Where?
Yeah.
Home. When you don't feel good, even if, let's say, you just went on the best vacation ever, and Raul, the pool guy, brought you drinks, one after.
I am here for your drinks.
Yes.
I said that your margarita is empty. Let me fill it up for you later.
Raul was bringing you margaritas one after another. You were down them, you were laughing, you were having the best time ever. But by the time, oh, Raul. I am not posting this on Instagram. So no matter what, when you finally get to the airport and you get in that car and you go to your house and you're standing at your own house doorway, when you open that door, what do? Right? It's good to be home. You could have had the best vacation ever, but what do you still feel? Man, it's good to be home.
Something drops. It drops.
Isn't that really what everybody wants too? That if you guys were taking some of your residents on a field trip and you pull up in front of your front door and there's that little moment of quiet, and all of a sudden in the very back of the van you hear somebody's voice say,
"Oh, it's good to be home."
Isn't that what we're striving for? That's what they're feeling inside when they say that, it's good to be home. So when we think of that and we think of this home, what do we do a lot of times? When somebody says, I want to go home, I think sometimes we put a bunch of Band-Aids on the situation. Sometimes it might be a temporary solution by redirecting the person. And we say, oh, that's it. We got to redirect them, get them away from that door. Oh, that's going to help. That's going to trigger them. We got to do this, got to do that. And then we also might use some other temporary fixes. We might offer food. We might offer, oh, look at this pretty new puppy, or here's a baby doll or a teddy bear. Or even we cross our fingers behind our back and we tell a little fib. So that's all these Band-Aids, these temporary solutions that really aren't finding out the why. And what's going to happen? It's going to keep happening over and over and over. And we're going to keep doing these Band-Aids until we figure out the why.
Or we develop into a habit of just saying, that's the way they are.
Yes, it's part of the disease, Monday.
That's part of the disease.
It's just part of the disease, everybody. I've had family members say, when's my loved one getting to that stage where they just want to get out the door? Or the stage where they want, there is no stage. That's not a stage. So let's think about that. If the person is saying, I want to go home, maybe this person really remembers the home they just left when they moved in. And they remember that. They don't have dementia. They're thinking back to that home that they just left, and that's where they want to go. But there's a bigger group of people, right? That when they say, I want to go home, they're talking about that home from 40, 50, 60, and for my mom, it was 70 years ago. And that's the home that when I looked at her and said, oh, I'm tired of shopping, let's head home. And she'd say, oh, sure, let's go. And we'd pull up in front of our house and she'd look at it. Do you want me to get out here? Because this wasn't home in her mind. Home was the log cabin that she grew up in back in West Virginia. That's home. But she'd go, okay, I'll get out. And she'd go into this home. But there might be somebody that says to you, I want to go home. And when they say it, you know exactly what it means. I want to go home. Right? And they might mean home. I had one sweet lady at a place that I worked at in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, that she was in hospice care, and I walked past her room, and I just walked past. I didn't even think to stop and say hello. And even for the 2 years that I knew her, if you walked past her room and she was in it, she'd go, psst, psst. And you're like, oh. And you go in, and you're like, oh, hello, Dolores. And she said, oh, hello. Do you want to know something? And I said, yes, ma'am. She says, I'm ready to go home. And I said, oh, isn't that beautiful? She said, I'm ready to go. How amazing to be ready to go home. But then there's that fourth group, and it's the things that you guys just yelled at us. That fourth group, because when you think about people who are having issues with communication, when they're trying to find that right word, when it's on the tip of their tongue, my mom used to say to me, it's in my head and rolling around and I can't get it to come out. She can't find that word. But when you think of that word, it makes you feel comforted. So I want to go home because I don't feel safe. I want to go home because that's where my food is. I can get up at midnight and go get my snack. I want to go home because that's where my husband is. I want to go home because my pets need me, because my garden has been watered. My dad, for a while, walked around doing this. What did he want? And he was saying, I need to get home, I need to get home. Why the place that he was at told us to take his wallet and not let him have it, I don't know why, and why we listened. So I gave him back his wallet and put in a bunch of cards, gave him a checkbook that he put in his front pocket with his gold and silver pen. And the checkbook was a closed account, so it had a whole mess of checks. And he would go around, he became like the most popular guy at dinner, that he was sitting only with 2 other gentlemen. And then one day I went in at dinner time and there was 7 people sitting crammed around a 4-top. And I looked, and at the end of dinner, my dad did this.
Have a check, please.
So
I got this. This is all on me right here.
They bring him a check, and he gets out the checkbook, and he always gave like $100 tip.
Little something for you, too.
After one activity of sitting and making beaded necklaces with my daughter, who was 2 at the time, he called the activity director over and he goes, come here, lady. Hey, come here. Let me see your name tag. And he gets out his checkbook and he writes out a check for $500 for that activity. And she said she put it in her office and framed it and said, 20 minutes. 20 minutes, that's what I'm worth, $500. But that little act of him, he didn't really want to go home. In fact, one time he was saying, I want to go with you. He didn't tell me I want to go home. He just kept saying, I want to go with you. And I tried everything, and I said, all right, Dad. I said, well, maybe let's get a jacket. It's a little chilly outside. Really, in the back of my brain, I was using a Band-Aid because I knew the administrator had brought a little dog. So I was going to go take a walk, and we were going to see the dog, and I thought he'd forget about going outside with me. So I said, Dad, you need to we're going to get a little jacket or something, and then we'll go out. He looks around the room. There was a sweet lady. He pushed her forward, took her pink sweater, crammed his 6'2" body into the pink sweater, buttoned it, and said,
let's go.
It wasn't quite that bad.
Oh, you know.
But we did. We went out the front door. I asked her if he could use the sweater, and she said, sure. We went outside, and we walked around the whole building. When we came around to the front of the building, he saw the building and went, oh, that's where I go. And we went back in. But when he got that wallet and he got that checkbook, what did it do for him? right? It gave him his identity. It gave him purpose. It was who he was as a person. So when we hear that I want to go home, think about the person's well-being. Think about the why behind. It's a simple word. Just apply it. When someone is sitting and shredding napkins and they're happy, don't take the napkins away from them. Why? Why take them away? It's not hurting anybody. Let them shred the napkins. This is the simplest message that I can give to you. Here's the next piece of my message. And I got to check my time because I don't want to go over time. We want you to fail. We do.
Yep.
We want you to fail. Just fail, fail, fail.
On your face.
Fall down.
Bam.
Man, we want you to mess up. Just be crappy.
Just plant.
Because if you fail, you're going to start thinking differently. You're going to try and find a different way to go about it if you fail. And it's good to be different. It's good to be thinking differently. If you are filling out these sheets and you're thinking about everything that people said today, and you're going, we want to try that, we want to do this. If you don't fail, then you're not thinking creative enough. This is a great little quote I saw on a little girl's t-shirt. I don't know if you can read it, but what it says is try, fail, fix the ponytail, try a different way. I thought, wow, was that powerful. This little girl had this t-shirt on. Try a different way.
You have to become more creative in the face of failure. You are compelled to do so. If you aim high enough, that means that you're going for something that's a little bit out of your reach. You fail, and you're a little bit closer to getting there. If you never get to that point of failing, then you never get to that point of really, really wanting to succeed.
So if I said to Mondy, see how high you can jump.
Okay.
Just right now, see how high. Okay, pretty good.
That's pretty good.
But I bet if the whole room cheered him on, he could probably jump higher. Are you guys ready?
Sure.
Okay, just say, come on, Mondy, come on, come on. Ready? Come on, come on. I think you did.
I think I did.
I think you did.
I felt like I did.
You felt like you did.
I felt those koalas just bounce right off.
So I don't know about you guys, but there's a point where you start going through the motions. Have anybody played skee ball? Okay, I love skee ball.
Just go down the stairs. You can play.
You can play downstairs?
Yeah, just one floor down from here.
Okay, so good to know. But I know there's times when you're trying something new, you're trying to do something, and you're just kind of throwing the ball.
You want to make points. You're putting points on the board. 5
points.
Yeah.
10 points. Whoop-de-doo-dah,
but
right?
That 100's in the corner.
But you have to aim higher. If you don't aim higher, you're not going to get the 100 and the 500. It's going to take you so much longer to just getting 5 and 5 and 5 and 5. But if you concentrate and aim higher, you're going to get up there. You're going to get to that 100 and that 500.
You got to bounce a couple of times along the rim of the 100.
Yeah. They do that on purpose.
You're like, that's so close. But then you realize, I just got to rotate the wrist a little bit more.
Man, I think that they make that like that. They make it bumpy.
Yeah, there's an optical illusion involved.
Yeah, it is. It is. That's yours.
It's true.
That's what you said.
I will.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have a dramatic pause before I get to it.
Okay.
Yeah, failure gets us closer to what's true. Inevitably, it gets us closer. It certainly lets us bump up against what's true. We're not necessarily seeing the truth of the situation, but we're perceiving it in some way by the failure. The failure gives us an indication that something's there. If you're stumbling around in a dark room and you stub your toe, you know it's not empty.
You know what? I want them to fail at something right now.
Okay.
Okay, can everybody stand up for a second?
Yeah. You can hear how motivated everyone was to stand.
That's all right.
I got to stand up and fail? Oh, this is getting worse.
All right, Monday, go ahead.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. It's a very easy thing. You grab your nose.
Everybody grab your nose.
All right, then you're going to reach around and then grab your ear so that they're crossed over like this. And if we're all doing this, then no one looks silly. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to switch. So now our hand that was grabbing the ear is now grabbing the nose, and the hand that was grabbing the nose is grabbing the ear.
Switch.
And then switch back and forth.
Switch. Switch.
Yeah, feels weird. Eventually, this is going to happen.
Okay, you
Like
can
that,
sit.
or you're going to feel like you're attacking your face.
So I bet a bunch of you failed at that. But that's okay. It's probably the first time you ever did it. And that's why also you failed. But the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. And it gets a deeper and deeper rut in your brain. You're like, oh, I know what this is, just like riding a bike. But what's that thing called?
It's called a cross-lateral exercise. When you do something like that, you move your hand over here, it starts to get operated by the half of the brain that normally doesn't control that hand. When it comes over here, it switches. Your brain is cross-wired. The right half of your brain controls the left half of your body, and vice versa. The communication between the two halves of the body, the two halves of the brain, are by that bundle of nerves called the corpus callosum. When you do things that involve switching over what drives the half of the body, then that develops new neurons in the corpus callosum, so the two halves of the brain are more interconnected. By having more interconnections there, your whole brain works more holistically.
Wow. You're smarter than I thought you were.
Today.
But the point is, you probably failed at that. And that's okay. You can move forward and you can get better at it. It's just the same thing, is that failure is success if we learn from it. So I just want to challenge you to really fail, to just try and reach up as high as you can, reach higher than you have. And the main message that I really want you to listen to is to not give up. Never give up. Okay? Keep trying. Never give up on yourself. Never give up on a family member. Never give up on a resident. Never give up on an elder. Never give up. Thank you so much. We appreciate your time.
Thanks a lot.